Hey guys, Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I am back with another episode review of May I Ask for One More Final Thing as we continue on and we get an interesting plot twist in the story of what we gotta do, and it sounds like Scarlet has to take down a goddess. Insanity. But yeah, this episode was crazy. We find out Scarlet is also a saint. Um, and again, we kind of get more plot twists, but we basically pick up where we last left off from the last episode, where they're basically climbing the mountain because they got to go purify this crystal that basically keeps the barrier for basically the capital or the kingdom up, so then there's nothing crazy or any like evil monsters or things popping up. So that's kind of the whole thing. Right now you do have the one night kind of again hitting on Scarlet and stuff like that, but that doesn't really affect her. Now they get to obviously the crystal. And obviously, the thing is, we know that Diana doesn't have her sane abilities. So they're like, okay, how are we going to cleanse and purify the crystal to make sure we can keep the barrier up? And then that's when one of the maids is like, okay, Saint Scarlet, here's your robe so you can, do what you need to do. Now, Scarlet's brother is like, huh? What? What did my sister get herself into? What is going on right now? And basically he asks Scarlet like, care to tell me what's going on? And basically Scarlet says, well, yeah, I have seen abilities myself. And she basically goes on to say, there actually is two saints, right? So essentially in this world, we find out like there's one saint that is basically the public figure being the saint, and basically that saint is the saint that keeps the barrier up, right? Make sure the barrier is up and nothing is happening, so then like no evil creatures are able to go through. And then essentially what the second saint does is it's kind of more of a saint in hiding. They don't really tell the public like, oh, this is a saint or anything, and they basically kind of back up the current saint or whatever, and kind of fills in wherever the saint, the main saint doesn't do. So basically Scarlet is filling in. I forgot, like, she has another role that she plays, but she basically fills in for Diana. She's filling in for Diana because Diana has no saint abilities, right? So that's which is actually pretty interesting, the fact that there's two saints, but one is kind of like, I guess you can say, like a secretary in a weird way, and really rarely like it sounds like a fair like small amount of an inner circle knows like, oh no, these are the saints, which I guess it's only like the people within like the saint structure. So basically, what Scarlet does to purify the crystal is she just basically turns back time on the crystal to purify it, and that way it keeps the barrier up. Right now, obviously it's not going to keep it up for long, but until they can get Diana's powers back to where she can always be there to stabilize it and everything, then that's the whole thing. And you do have a pretty emotional conversation between Diana and Scarlet, because Diana, she feels guilty for making Scarlet for making Scarlet do all this work for her, when she knows like it should be me, but if I had my powers I'd be able to do it. But Scarlet's like, no, it's okay, I'll keep doing this until I can find your power, but trust me, I will stop at nothing to get your saint powers back, right? So that's the thing. Now we do overhear the knights talking, and they talk really before that. And we're hinting at the fact like, oh well, there apparently is a traitor among us because they're feeding information about our whereabouts and everything, right? So they basically go to this other kingdom capital or whatever, and they are basically pressed by the royal guard there. Now the knights are like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this and stuff like that? Why are you stopping us? And they're like, well, you need to, you're all being accused of a crime for doing something, right? And they're like, what are you talking about? And essentially, they're like, you committed treason, all this other bullshit that they're saying. And basically, we find out, like, oh, you're doing this against the will of Lady Terenezza Hopkins. So, so Terenezza Hopkins finally reveals herself for the first time in front of Scarlet, um, in a very long time. Scarlet's like, oh, well, if it isn't you, you damn bitch. And obviously, Terenessa's like, please, I'm not gonna make sure, what happened last time happens. You're gonna pay for your crimes, villainess. Um, and obviously, Scarlet's like, okay, I guess you leave me with no choice. I guess I'm going to have to do the same thing like I did to you in the first episode, and that's just punch that cute little face of yours, right? Well, she basically is like, well, you can try, right? You can try. So her men gets involved by blocking Scarlet off from doing that, right? And then on top of it, we found out the one night that was hitting on Scarlet, what is it, is a traitor, but I'll get to that in a second, right? So essentially, Terenezza, makes this aroma or this thing, and basically, we essentially find out like this ability of hers basically mind controls women. I mean, men. My bad, right? And makes them self-servient puppets to her. So because of it, Scarlet says, hey, listen, don't breathe in that smoke. She can control you by doing this. So all the men literally cover their mouths because they can't do much of anything now. Look, man, it's like a gas, right? So, look, I understand. This is like medieval times, so there is no gas mask, but I'm like, I find it very hard to believe you can just cover your mouth like this and not inhale anything. Now, again, if you're in a hazardous space, well, with hazardous gases, I don't think that would work. You would need a gas mask, but they can cover their mouths like that, and apparently, boom, boom, boom. They don't have to. They don't get affected. But because of this, Scarlet's really the only one that can do much of anything. So she basically takes down and she fights all these Royal Guard members and takes them down with ease. So then this other chick shows up and is like, "Don't worry, Lady Terenezza, I'll protect you too." Right? Again, we also find out like her stuff. Terenezza's ability does not affect women, and it's funny because she's like, please, why would I need women? Look, listen, if you want to go I guess you can say the Yuri route, I guess you could do that if you want to. Personally, I'm a guy that is into Yuri stuff, but, okay, I guess, whatever. But anyways, it's funny because this girl it seems fairly strong, right? Scarlet gives one punch. She blocks the punch really well. And she's like, well, is that the best you got? And Scarlet's like, oh yeah. And she basically does a one-hit KO on this chick. I'm just like, well, that was very anticlimactic. So then, essentially, Scarlet pins down Terenezza, and she's like, all right, bitch. It's time to get your comeuppance. It's time for you to get these hands, right? But then you have it to where that knight that was hitting on Scarlet shows up, the green-haired looking bowl cut dude, right? And he's got Diana at basically knife point, and he's like, hey, how about we do this deal? A saint for a saint. Basically saying, like, you let Terenezza go, and I'll let Diana go. Otherwise, I'll just slit her throat right here, right? Now, Scarlet obviously lets go because she does not want Diana to get hurt. And Scarlet's brother actually, after they do that, he managed to rush over to Diana and basically asked if she's okay and everything. And he actually rushed in there, like, very worried and very like, and he hugged her, right? So again, doing the whole thing of the tease of the romance between these two, which at the start of the episode, she's having a problem a little bit walking, right? And he's like, "Hey, I can take your hand and help you walk, Lady Diana." And she's just like, and she gets all flustered, right? Because she's in love with the dude, and Scarlet's brother. But, hey, maybe Scarlet's brother's gonna show a little bit more affection, for Diana, and I'm talking about in the romantic type of way. Albeit, Diana looks like she's a kid, but I don't know how old she is. If you read if there's anybody in the comment section, or anybody who's watching the video that has read the original source material, if you could please provide the age of Scarlet's brother and Lady Diana, that would be much helpful. No, personally, I'm a all legal dude type of dude, so that's the whole thing there, right? So, essentially what happens is, because of this, they escape, right? But Scarlet, because she used basically, most of her powers, she basically falls unconscious and knocks out, right? So then she is then in, I guess you can say, heaven or whatever, or in the god's void, and she is basically confronted by the god of time, Cronoa, right? Funny enough, how Cronoa is the only, like, I guess you can say, name I know of for a goddess, just due to Dragon Ball Xenoverse, because the Supreme Kai of Time, her name is also called Cronoa, right? So basically, Cronoa is like, well, hello, Scarlet, it's been a while, and obviously Scarlet's like, who the hell are you, right? And essentially what Cronoa's like, oh, well, yeah, it's been a long time, because the last time I saw you is when I gifted you my abilities when you were just a mere child, or a mere baby. So it makes sense why you don't remember me, right? So basically, Cronoa basically tells Scarlet, like, look, I have you on a mission, right? I'm gonna bless you my 100% ability, right? My blessing, right? And he actually heals her hair, because you remember, because she used her time abilities, it actually affected her hair and started turning her black. Dude basically restores that power within Scarlet, and her hair is back to being healed again, right? And basically he's like, look, I have a mission for you, and I need you to do me a favor, because I can't do it. And I need you to go take out, and hold on, let me get the character's name, right? Hold on. I'm trying to get the character's name. Palmia, right? So essentially, basically, Cronoa's like, look, I need you to do me a favor, and I need you to take out the goddess named Palmia for me, right? And you need to stop her. And obviously, Scarlet's like, Palmia, what are you talking about, right? And basically, this is when Cronoa explains, like, yeah, Palmia, well, let's just say she's a jealous goddess, and she does not take too kindly to you. On top of it, she's the one that stole Diana's saint abilities, right, to have for herself. Because actually, I forgot to mention, when Scarlet actually does go in for a punch, the punch doesn't work, because Terenezza was actually protected by she was protected by Diana's saint abilities, because the green barrier pops up, right? And obviously Scarlet was like, what the hell? How do you have Saint Diana's abilities? So we find out that, girl was jealous. The goddess was jealous. Goddess Palmia was jealous. She stole Diana's powers, right? And essentially what she did was, well, she basically pulled somebody from the real world, isekai'd them into her world, but she pulled her, kind of had her knocked out, right? And essentially, what happened is she used her own DNA of her hair, put it within the person she essentially isekai'd to this world, and basically gave her this mindset of like, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, right, for your own good. And essentially, basically, her whole goal is to take down the kingdom, and destroy it, and basically make it, all hell on earth, right? And that's her way of getting revenge for being wronged and shit like that. So basically, Cronua's like, look, I need you to stop her minion, and because if you do that, it will stop her, and she will understand what the hell is happening. Which, again, it's crazy. Like the depths of like what this goddess was doing, the fact that she forcefully isekai somebody because she wants to get revenge, absolutely crazy, right? But other than that, it's also shocking too. It definitely was shocking to hear all that information. So now Scarlet knows what she must do, and basically we kind of have the mission at hand, and that's basically stop Terenezza from trying to exact her revenge on the country and get what she wants. And we do find out, like, the only reason why Scarlet's old fiance, aka Princess Julius's brother, called off the engagement to try to get with Terenezza was because he was being controlled, right? So he was being controlled to do that. And Terenezza's like, so how do you feel about me taking your fiance and stuff? Now Scarlet really didn't give a shit because she's like, oh please, I knew something was up with him, because why would he just like call off an engagement? So figures that she must have controlled him with that ability of yours. So yeah, but other than that, that was a fairly shocking revelation, but a really good episode. Definitely gonna be interesting to see where the next few episodes of this show is going to go. But I'm looking forward to it. But if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts. Hit the subscribe button if you want to get more. May I ask for one more final theme content or any other anime I upload to the channel. But till then, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day or your night. I'm watching this video, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.